Namaskar. A very good morning to all of you. Thank you for the kind introduction. There was a time when we were talking about how everything is going to be digitized, and we were talking about the inevitability of the all pervasive digital ecosystem. But today, we are talking about dangers of deepfake, we're talking about cyber security, we're talking about fake news on digital media, we're talking about how it is very, very difficult to distinguish between uh, the truth and something that is fake. So I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that the digital media, digital ecosystem, everything becoming digital is not a thing of the future. It has arrived. Everything is now digital. So uh, I would first like to express my gratitude to Shri Upendra Padhi, the entire organizing committee of the National Media Conclave, for thinking of this very, very, very important topic for this session. The chair, Professor Navneeta Rath, my esteemed co-panelists, Dr. Yogi, and the panelists who joined online. Very privileged for giving me an opportunity to discuss my perspective here, and also a privilege to listen to various perspectives and statistics that we were hearing from our previous speaker before. Because I work directly with mainstream media, my views would be more about representation of women and the portrayal of women in media, especially mainstream media and digital media. So in a fast-paced digital era, this technology shapes the very fabric of our society. It is very important that we scrutinize its impact on various segments of our population. So today we're talking about women. We need to recognize, first and foremost, that the digital ecosystem has the potential to be a great equalizer, but it also runs the risk of perpetuating existing inequalities if we do not consciously strive for inclusivity. Women, in particular, are mostly, we see, left behind in this technological revolution. So, what we need to do, we need to bridge this gender gap, ensuring that women have equal opportunities to access and leverage the digital tools that shape the ecosystem. So, how women and women's issues are portrayed in the media is invariably interlinked with the representation of women in media. So what we see is that women's issues are sidelined amongst a host of other things. If we talk about representation, or if we say underrepresentation of women in media, as administrators, as decision makers, in senior leadership positions, media has always been a male-dominated industry and has remained so with little change in all these years. So this applies to both representation as well as portrayal of women in media. To be very, very honest, we live in a world where a handful of men sitting in newsrooms who are controlling news studios, they decide the value of a news, they decide the value of an event, the value of an individual by categorizing them under various time bands, front page news or inside page news, whether the news is worth a headline or giving a prime time slot, a non-prime time slot, or no slot at all. And most of the time, we see that it is the women's issues, happenings concerning women, where the role of women is in the spotlight, almost they never feature in the top picks or the front page or the prime time. They're usually banished to a corner of the paper or put into an afternoon non-prime time slot with negligible viewership because they are perceived to be soft news, and feminism is labeled as not so glamorous. More space is given to women's bodies than their accomplishments. Women issues, unfortunately, never make it to editorial meetings, never make it to the rundown of primetime anchors when they discuss pertinent issues of the day, unless issues involve some female actor's love life, wedding, or new wardrobe. Tabloidization and sensationalism often overshadow the real matter. And whatever they may say, whatever lip service they may do, in reality, most male news editors think women's issues are more suitable for the entertainment segment or the informal morning segments. So media portrayal of women has always been in terms of appearance and association with other people rather than their own abilities and achievements. So the center of this issue is formed because newsrooms and media companies across the world have fewer women in them and even lesser in pivotal positions of corporate power. So a male-dominated perspective prevails in newsrooms and news stories throughout the world, starting from a story being repeated to it being telecast. And in the battle of TRPs, in the battle of views, likes, shares, engagements, we tend to forget to put on the gender lens. The picture looks quite dismal, but things have been changing, albeit a little slowly. I think more and more media organizations are owning up and accepting the previous behaviors and are somewhat committed to rectifying the past mistakes, bringing more balance, increasing the number of women in the workforce, the number of women in leadership and decision-making roles, and ensuring more inclusive news coverage and reportage when it comes to gender. I think media institutions have acknowledged the significance and importance of diversity when it comes to representation in the workforce, as well as gender-sensitive reporting. But deep within, I think it's easier said than done, and I think a lot of people feel that it's something not possible. But I personally feel that if media organizations and teams have shared goals, they have shared motivations, are consistent in their approach, and if they're deeply committed to bring about a change and are willing to explore new methods, both creative and technical, to move closer to these goals, then inclusivity and gender balance is very much possible. Access to technology is not just a matter of convenience, it's a matter of empowerment. So by facilitating equal access to digital resources, we empower women to participate actively in economic, social, and political spheres. So it's a means to amplify their voices and contribute to the democratic process that govern our country. Moreover, our digital spaces must be safe and inclusive. Cybersecurity and online harassment, we notice, disproportionately affect women, stifling their freedom of expression and hindering their participation in the digital discourse. Education also plays a pivotal role in this journey towards gender equity in the digital realm. We must invest in digital literacy programs that empower women with the skills and knowledge to navigate and contribute meaningfully to the digital landscape. Leaders in media cannot afford to be bystanders anymore. They have to be doers, and they have to be willing to shake up the status quo. As mentioned in a World Economic Forum report, we still have a long way to go until the media cover women in a balanced way and finally put stereotypes to rest. The media have a responsibility to reflect society only, not as it is, but also as it should be. This means more reporting about women, particularly in male-dominated industries, and portraying them in the same light as the men they cover. Otherwise, these successful women will not be perceived as role models to emulate by the younger generations and the people and the users who are consuming the media. This alarming matter of domestic violence has hardly raised eyebrows in newsrooms and made it to primetime news bulletins, or be it domestic violence or any news. We never see as much as the importance that they deserve. A one-off piece here and there, and the pandemic has also made women pursue part-time as well as contractual jobs. Also, many struggle managing a household as well as office work in a parallel manner, for which they have to take the hard decision of quitting their high-paying, highly satisfying jobs. Because someone has to stay at home with the children, someone has to take care of the house, and usually that someone is the woman. It is true that over the years, more and more men are lending a hand in these jobs and contributing to these tasks, but they're still a minority. Today's conventional and digital media, despite its overwhelming reach, is not at all sensitized to cover and present women-centric issues and stories, especially during the pandemic and also the period after that. I personally feel it is the duty of a responsible media to seek out female voices amidst a crowd of male ones, to tell stories from women's perspectives, to make conscious, consistent efforts, hire more women, put them in leadership roles, monitor the kind of stories you are telling about women, make informed choices, look for a female voice when you're finding experts. That might take a little bit of more time, little bit of more effort, but we must do it. We must build a database of female voices of authority on various subjects. Talk to the management if something is not right. Share your suggestions, talk to your teams. There is no set formula, there is no rule book. Every organization needs to find out what works for them and shoulder the onus to bring about a paradigm shift in the way they illustrate women-centric issues. Today's media needs to inculcate the habit of gender sensitivity in its newsroom and prioritize women's perspectives. We need to monitor our content by gender and ensure fair representation. We need to be cautious of gender stereotypes in our narratives and use gender-neutral language, and also increase the number of female experts from various fields for panel discussions and debates. It has taken women, liberals, and free thinkers centuries to fight for the cause of fair and realistic portrayal of women in mainstream media. If we do not stick to this course, the hard work of ushering in the era of women and empowerment will be a complete and utter waste. In conclusion, I will say that as we navigate the intersections of technology, media, and democracy, let us not forget the imperative of ensuring gender equality and equity in the digital realm. Our commitment to inclusivity will determine the true success of this digital transformation, the digital revolution. Thank you very much.